And welcome back to the Cover 3 podcast here on CBS Sports. That's Tom Fornelli. That's Bud Elliott. I'm Chip Patterson coming to you live at youtube.com/cover3 and everywhere you get your podcasts on demand. Thanks for hanging out. Smash that subscribe, smash that like, and come and join us in the chat, a.k.a. the Cover 3 tailgate. Bud, they're asking if you bought season tickets for 2026 yet. Justin Grubb asking.
Have not. We're still contemplating.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, you got to wait until everything falls into place before you make financial decisions. Of course, our friends at our friends at PNC Bank would say slow and steady. You know,
that's right.
It's a great approach to it. Hey, we got a lot to get to. It is Wednesday. That means we are going inside the matchups with big game breakdowns. But before we dive into that, I'm here to let you know, what if we took all of the fun of the Cover 3 Splash game and we put it all in just 1 week? A 1 week free for all, $1,000 in Splash Cash up for grabs, and we want you to come and join us. Yes, week 12 is here. We've got $1,000 in Splash Cash up for grabs in our free to enter Pick'em contest. There is no entry fee. There are real prizes and bragging rights on the line. Let's break down how this works. You can go to splashsports.com/cover3. One more time, splashsports.com/cover3. And in this one, for week 12, we are picking 12 college football games. Now, our season-long competition, where you're picking 6 every single week, that is still going on. So those of you who are high on the leaderboard, make sure you don't give up on this. But hey, you can do a little double dip. That's not against the rules. So come and join us. This is week 12 only. 12 college football games against the spread. Same rules in terms of the spreads have a lock date. They'll give you a timer to let you know when that is. And all of Saturday's games, all of the games lock at noon Eastern time. Then, just like in the season-long game, one of your 12 picks is worth double the points, okay? So $250 in Splash Cash to the winner of this Week 12 sprint. And the rest of the top of the leaderboard will get a share of $750 in Splash Cash. The Week 12 Cover 3 college football free pick'em. It's a sprint. This one is not a marathon. This one is actually a sprint. So head on over splashsports.com/cover3 to be able to get your entry in. Again, 12 picks against the spread, free to enter, real Splash Cash. So boys, we got to get on it over there. It's a great opportunity to be able to earn back whatever we might have given up in terms of Splash. Bud, you are actually, you've reclaimed in the season long a pretty good standing, right?
I think I'm 25th out of 5,000.
I peaked at 59, but a couple 2 and 4s, a couple of slightly, only hitting your bonus pick. I'm a little bit down into the hundreds now.
So the standings here,
let's check it out. For 24th.
24th. Okay.
Nice.
Tied. It's probably tied with what? I mean, the tie has got to be 30 guys.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I am tied for 833rd, so I could really use this new contest.
Yeah, there we go. See, Tom, we have thousands of people who entered the contest who are not currently sitting where Bud is at tied for 24th. So the Week 12 sprint that we have, come join at splashsports.com.
The leader is 49-17 against the spread. I'm 42-24. So he's 7 up on me.
49-17 picking college football games against the spread through 11 weeks is really good.
74%. Yeah, that'll work.
I think that's profit. I think.
Yeah.
All right.
I would agree.
It is a Wednesday. Those of you in the tailgate, we are anticipating that Day Trading Danny will come and give us the market report in a little bit. He's got a very cool sort of family event going on right now. I'll let him share more when he gets here. But we've got to keep this thing chugging along. We got to go inside the matchup. We call it Big Game Breakdown. All right. Now, I think that there are some easy personnel-related answers to what has changed since we saw Texas and Georgia play twice last season. Very clearly, we've got a different quarterback. for both teams. Guess what? Didn't Carson get hurt in the SEC championship game? Gunner finished it out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But for the most part, different starting quarterbacks. We've got different personnel at the wide receiver position for both these teams. Texas lost some key defenders, but the coaches are still the same. The coaching staffs are still the same. So as we are thinking about the way that these two teams are trying to prepare for each other, Tom, how do you think both Steve Sarkisian and Kirby Smart, two coaches that because of their two meetings last year, because of their similar coaching tree, are going to have some familiarity? So what are going to be some of the keys, and what are we expecting to see that will be the same? What are we expecting to see that might be different in terms of how these teams attack each other?
Do you guys want an incredible stat?
Absolutely.
Last year, in the two meetings between these teams, Georgia had 13 sacks and 25 tackles for loss in 2 games. This season, Georgia has 11 sacks and 35 tackles for loss.
Boy, that's something that looks different.
Yeah. So I think, I've spent a lot of time talking about it. We've spent a lot of time talking about the Texas offensive line, how bad it has been and how much pressure Arch Manning has been under. Well, as those stats I just shared tell you, Georgia's pass rush hasn't exactly been a monster this year. It certainly hasn't been what we saw last year in these meetings. So that's going to be a very interesting matchup, I think, to watch. And I also think, just to take this home further, we've talked about how Georgia's defense isn't the same unit that we're typically used to seeing. It's not the elite, national title units. But here's just a spot, just to give everybody a taste in case they aren't entirely sure of what we mean when we say that. Here's where Georgia's defense ranks in certain stats. Points per drive, 48th. Success rate, 49th. EPA per dropback allowed, 108th. Pressure rate, going back to the stat I just mentioned, 120th. Sack rate, 122nd. Negative play rate, 78th. So this Georgia defense is not very good. If Texas isn't able to move the ball against them, that is a big problem for Texas. But I do think that with the way Georgia's offense has gone this year, Texas is going to have to score points to win this game. And I think that has been a problem for Texas because on the season, they're averaging 2.25 points per drive, which only ranks 72nd nationally. But in SEC play, that drops to 1.95. So what are we going to see from the Longhorns offense here?
Well, you've seen a whole lot of short passes and a whole lot of yak from them in recent weeks. You haven't really seen much of a renewal of the run game. They've just been turning some of these, short plays into explosives. Obviously, some are screens. So, Georgia is going to have to tackle really well against Texas. I don't really think Texas, they have no run game all year. Georgia's run D is actually pretty good, I think. Now their pass rush is an issue. I don't know if it matters how much their pass rush is an issue on some of these short passes. I think you're going to look for Georgia guys to really get their hands up. We've got to have a lot of passes batted down, especially if you're trying to throw any kind of short stuff over the middle. But a lot of it is are you playing well through blocks with your DBs, right? Your apex defenders, and those guys have got to get out there. They've got to they got to hit it before it gets going, because Texas really does have a lot of creativity with a lot of their short stuff. To me, if Texas tackles well on the perimeter on these short stuff, I think they'll win the game easily. Not easily, because Texas is the best defense.
If Georgia tackles well, yeah.
If Georgia tackles well on the outside against Texas on these short passes, assuming Texas doesn't get any kind of real run game going, I think they'll win the ball game. Texas is the best defense Georgia's faced, I think, pretty clearly.
Yeah.
Definitely better than Tennessee, definitely better than Alabama.
Yeah.
Not by a huge amount, but I think I would take them. So I don't know how many points Georgia's going to put up, but their offense has been looking better and better. The offensive line is looking better. I know the competition is Mississippi State. Obviously, I bet Georgia last week. I thought Mississippi State, they don't really match up personnel-wise with the team like Georgia, but Georgia's offense has been looking better. It just comes down to, can they tackle on the outside? Right now, they've been burnt deep a couple times by teams this year, but Texas is not really a deep passing team.
No.
So it's a different calculus than what you saw from Tennessee and Alabama.
Georgia's defense playing at home, and Bud, you mentioned this. As I was looking at it, I was thinking, what do I feel the most confident in? It's a lot of the linebackers. Wouldn't you be happy to let those
yes,
elite athletes go out there and try to make plays. Now, if they don't make plays, Texas has a good chance to go into Athens and pull off a win. They've got that kind of athleticism on the perimeter at the skill positions. But if I'm a Georgia fan, I like the way that those pieces line up against each other, where if Texas just wants to go out and test your tackling, guess what? I love sending my linebackers to go make those tackles.
Fully agree. Yeah. Georgia also doesn't throw deep a whole lot. So the analysis I just gave applies basically the same, except I think Texas' offensive line is a way bigger liability than Georgia's offensive line is. And obviously playing in Athens is a little more detrimental to the road team with the noise.
Anecdotally, I don't have the numbers pulled up. Gunner does feel good for about 4 ropes down the sideline per game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think
usually when blitzed.
Is that it? He gets the one-on-one and he's like, okay. And which again, what a joy. What a joy for a quarterback to say, hey, I've got this unbelievable athlete over here in single coverage. Let's just throw it up there and see if he can go make a play. Very old school SEC power right there, where it's not like we're running air raid. We're not dicing you up. We're not playing with tempo, but yeah, if we get the right coverage, we throw this 20 yards down the sideline, we might have a guy who's 6'7" and able to go and make that play over your defensive back.
Yeah, I was doing radio this. Or go ahead, Tom.
I was going to say, typically a quarterback's hot read is like a little dump off in the side, to the side. For Gunner, his hot read is just a go route down the sideline.
Right. Okay. That's again, just sort of pulling this off of the top of the head in terms of my notebook here, in terms of the way they function. All right. Sorry, bud. Go ahead.
So I was on the radio this morning and they asked me, like, what's the number at which Georgia says, yeah, like, we'll take play deal or no deal. If I give you 24 points, are you saying deal, walking home, or are you holding out for 27? Like, do you feel really good about winning this game if you score 24?
Not yet.
I want 27.
Yeah,
I think I feel really good at 24. Just if you look at it, like, look who Texas has been scoring against, right? It's Vandy, whose defense is I'm not saying falling apart, but like Auburn diced them. So it's not like that's a real good trajectory they're on. Mississippi State gets, like, everybody scores on them. So is the Texas offense truly fixed? They are operating a little bit differently, but again, who you play matters.
I would also point out for this matchup too, Texas's 4 road games are, the loss at Ohio State, the loss at Florida, overtime to beat Kentucky, and then barely beating Mississippi State.
Florida destroyed that Texas O-line. Like, I thought Arch actually moved around pretty well, and like, he had some missed throws, but I mean, he had a lot of people around him.
Going back to the Gunner hot read thing, the reason I understood that is because it was just one thing I think that the Texas defense needs to do, if you look statistically anyway, is can they get pressure without blitzing? Because they really haven't. Like, they rank 101st nationally in pressure to blitz rate. Georgia, by the way, is 117th. But like Stockton, as I just mentioned, when he's blitzed, he's throwing that hot read go route down the sideline, and he's great at it. He's unleashed some absolutely beautiful throws in those situations. So you look at his numbers against the blitz, they're actually pretty good. It's just when he's under pressure and he isn't getting rid of the ball because he doesn't, have man-on-man right off the snap, he is terrible. So it's going to be interesting to see if Texas is able to get guys collapsing the pocket and not give him those easy outs and force him to actually play quarterback, because when he's in those situations, he's not thriving.
Statistically, Texas's run defense has been really, really good this year. Florida had a little bit of success, really committed to it in terms of the run game. And obviously Kentucky doesn't, that's what you got to do. Right. Do you think that Georgia, we have given Georgia's offense some flowers for the steps forward they've taken in the run game this week? Talked about it on Monday upon further review. Do you think that they're going to be able to run the ball against this Texas defense?
Not like run it down their throat. They might have a few decent runs, but I don't know, man. Like, they haven't been that great running the ball all year, and this is one of the better run defenses in the country. So My gut says no, probably not.
I'm trying to think, like, how many good run games has Texas faced?
Vanderbilt.
Ohio State's decent. Vandy clearly can run it, typically. Oh, they were in a funk against Missouri too. Like they couldn't run against Missouri in that little stretch they were in. Texas played Mississippi State, which is kind of up and down. Oklahoma does not have much of a run game, although last time out they did. I kind of think Georgia can run it a little bit here.
I think that'd be huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any
other notes here? Obviously, this one Saturday night, 7:30, between the hedges, all of the stakes, all of the all of the implications that are coming out of this. What stands out here in the matchup?
The stakes for this game?
No, like it's a big stage game. It's the game that everyone's going to be sitting around to watch. So where else should people have their eyes?
I mean, is somebody going to step up at receiver for Texas? Like I think Georgia has faced two better receiving corps than Texas for sure. And I would take Tennessee's, and I would certainly take Alabama's. Do they have a guy who goes off and really just helps them win the game down the field? Like that's going to be a big thing. I kind of think Georgia can cover these guys. Maybe this will be clipped and I'll be totally wrong, but also Arch Manning's legs. Texas traditional run game, not really there. It's been a couple weeks since that Mississippi State shot. I think him running the football is potentially the X factor in this.
Yeah, Chambliss did some extend drive running. I don't remember Chambliss specifically tearing them up. That would be the most mobile quarterback that we faced recently.
Aguilar doesn't have a guy. Mississippi State doesn't really have a guy. Like Shapen's not some kind of great athlete.
Yeah.
Kentucky, no. Florida, no, not this year. Yeah, you're right. Exactly. I mean, of course you're right. But yes, it's it'll be interesting to see how they defend it.
Yeah. Let me throw one last call a shot on here on Wednesday morning. Let's go London Humphreys. A big unleash London down the field kind of play. I could see it here. All right. Let's turn our attention to earlier in the day. Leading into this showdown, we are going to get Oklahoma playing Alabama. You will remember it was Brent Venables and these Oklahoma Sooners that did hand the Crimson Tide a loss that ended up being extremely impactful, keeping Kalen DeBoer from making the college football playoff during his first season. Now, this is not exactly the same. Alabama was a double-digit favorite there on the road against an Oklahoma team that was really spinning its wheels. This Oklahoma team finds itself very much in striking distance of the college football playoff. Crimson Tide favored by about a touchdown at home. Bud, do we have enough of a data set, or what can we glean that would say that Brent Venables has a good idea for slowing down Alabama's offense under Kalen DeBoer? Does the Ryan Grubb return change the wrinkles? Quarterback change as well? Congratulations, you slowed Jalen Milroe. That's not the same as Ty Simpson, but I would still say that there's some inconsistencies with the Alabama offense recently that at least has piqued my interest here.
Yeah, I still think Alabama's offense is really damn good, but they don't seem to have a real difference maker at running back, so they don't pop. Like when runs pop for them, they don't seem to finish them and create explosives. We talked about this on the Saturday night show. The long run for Alabama from a back was 7 yards against LSU. That's not really great. If you look at this, I think Bama's getting better in some areas in the pass game. Ryan Williams emerging is pretty big. But I don't know if we have a real sample set here of Venables against DeBoer with or without Grubb. We really just have last year, which was kind of not broken, but very inconsistent offense with Jalen Milroe, and they went up there. And obviously Oklahoma beat them in an ugly defensive scoring game. But has he faced them other than that?
At the time, though, Milroe was running hot off blowing the doors off LSU. They had run it up on Missouri. At the time that we had that game, we had not seen we had thought that the Alabama offense was fixed. We thought that the Alabama offense was clicking, and it was just very clear early in that game that the Crimson Tide, again, there's been a lot of criticism about, was Jalen Milroe seeing it? Why was the offense just out of sync in general? A lot of open players, missed passes, missed connections, but some of that credit also has to go to the way that the defense is set up and the way that it's called.
I don't disagree with that. I mean, look, Oklahoma, Venables is a great DC, and they're in the conversation, I think, for the second best defense in the country, assuming everybody just has Ohio State 1, which I do. But like, we can argue about the gapping there. Maybe there's a real gap between Ohio State and everybody else. It's kind of up to your own opinion. Like, I do think Venables has a chance to really slow this thing down. Maybe the one worry is, like, who has Oklahoma faced who can really chuck it around?
Well,
like Ole Miss in Tennessee, and they allowed 34 points to Ole Miss and 27 to Tennessee.
I was about to say, it's the last two games, and the quarterbacks put up 300 plus in both of those games.
Yeah, that's right. Because remember, they faced Auburn with the guy who's the now backup, and they faced obviously Bryce Underwood with those Michigan receivers, and also Michigan's top tight end was out in that game. So, like, I do think Oklahoma's defense is really good. I think their front will give Bama some problems. You have seen two teams chuck it on them okay. And it's in Tuscaloosa. Like, to me, Oklahoma has a very narrow path to win this game. It's like, man, you need Ty Simpson to play poorly. You need to rattle him. You need to hit him. You need to, like, bust Bama's blitz protections. And you probably need to you need to manufacture some turnovers, which I know it's a huge luck component. Venables does seem to be pretty good at creating situations from which turnovers emanate. Doesn't always happen, but like, he's pretty good at some of the bait stuff. McElroy does a great job talking about this. Like, I think he talked to Tua about what Venables did to them in that national title game when he was at Clemson, the one played in Santa Clara. And he's like, we went back through all the clips. Like, they did not run this coverage from this look all year. Like, they literally sat on it and broke it out for that game. And they got 2 picks off it early. And, Trevor Lawrence diced that defense up pretty good. So, like, I think Oklahoma's path to win is very narrow, like low scoring game. I would be shocked if OU finds a way to win a game where they have to score 30 here. Mine is just some crazy turnover special team stuff. And that's because Alabama does have touchdown scorers at the receiver position. And so far, Oklahoma does not really.
Must be nice to be in a conference where you can just save all that stuff for the playoff.
It's 2018 Clemson.
Yeah, we really hold. Oh, God.
I'm just saying, like, they were so confident in their ability to win the ACC in 2018 that they were like, we won't run any of this. We're going to save it for a game that matters. Going back to this game, we discussed Oklahoma's struggles against passing offenses, and I think, like, Alabama's not going to run the ball here. Like, you touched on it. They haven't run the ball well all year. They're not a very good run blocking offensive line. I don't see them suddenly figuring out against Oklahoma because Oklahoma's front is very good. So can Ty Simpson continue to do what he's done all year with this offense? Put it on his back, find his guys open down the field in space, which I think Ryan Grubb and Kalen DeBoer, wherever they've been, they've done a very good job of figuring out ways to get their guys open over the middle of the field, down the field. And Ty Simpson, to this point, has been probably the best downfield passing quarterback in the country. So can Oklahoma take that away? Can Brent Venables figure out a way to take it away and get him to stop and maybe force him to make some bad throws to get him to some turnovers? But I think far more important is I don't think Oklahoma is going to keep Alabama from getting at least 24 points in this game. So can Oklahoma score enough to win? Because, like, I talked about it with Texas. Oklahoma is only scoring 2.26 points per drive on the season, but that's 1.73 in the SEC. It's very bad. And John Mateer has stunk in the SEC. His numbers against conference opponents, he has an efficiency of 115.2. His completion rate, 61.3. 6.3 yards per attempt. 5 total touchdowns with his arm and his legs. 4 interceptions. Like, he has been bad since they've gotten out of non-conference play. Alabama's defense this year has been good against the pass in every game except for Florida State. If you want to beat them, you have to be able to run the ball. Can Oklahoma run the ball? We've seen them kind of figure it out since that Texas loss, but can they run it effectively enough to not only get points and keep Alabama off the field, but just can they get big chunks?
We have seen mobile QBs give this defense problems repeatedly. Now, they've done a little bit better at times against this season, but, like, I don't know. Are we convinced that is, like, completely fixed? Mm-hmm. I don't know. Like, is the sample set great enough that we think it is? Maybe. I mean, Oklahoma's running in there with 2 freshman tackles, and Bryant Denny, I think, is a much better home field advantage than it used to be. Like, with the remodel, that place is loud. Like, they do a great job with like the stadium production and all that. You've seen the videos coming from the truck, which are pretty cool. But like that's a pretty first class experience in terms of noise. So they'll be jacked for this. Is this a night game?
Yep. No,
This is the
afternoon,
night
3:30.
Oh, 3:30. Okay, that's
So
still like
Georgia, Texas is the night game. Yeah.
right. That'll still be like a pretty nice atmosphere to go into. But you know what? So was Neal on Halloween night. So, like, they've handled it. They needed some breaks. They created some of their own breaks against Tennessee. You just need another home run defensive effort. You need Mateer to like finally start seeing open guys. You need the freshman tackles to hold up, and you need some turnovers.
You need this game to be 26-22 with the ball and a shot to like go out there and be like, okay, like we all we want is one crack at it, just to see if Mateer in fourth quarter sort of scramble mode, can he go and put you in a position like that? You need this game to be decided in the 20s.
And I don't know that I think Ty Simpson's like absolutely a lock not to make mistakes, but I bet Oklahoma to upset Tennessee. You know, they will not be on sprinkles this week for me. I'm not saying I'm betting Bama, but like I trust Ty Simpson a hell of a lot more than I trust Joey Aguilar.
I'm just trying to imagine the game where the score is 26-22.
Why?
That's an odd score.
I know.
That is an odd score.
Where'd you get those numbers from? Why'd you go 26-22 instead of like 24-21?
Oh, I do not think this is. I mean, safety's on the board. Are you kidding me? A lot of field goals are on the board. You know, I mean, this just seems like one of those games where the ball might be moving more than the scores going up on the board.
If this game is 26-22 at any point, I will give you $100.
Clip it.
I like that.
I think it's here's why, Tom. Oklahoma points scored against Ole Miss, 26 points. Oklahoma points scored against South Carolina, 26 points. What was the final score of Alabama against, let me get this right here, Alabama against South Carolina? Final score was 29-22. Ooh. Final score against LSU, 20-9. I mean, boys, I've just seen some funky numbers on the board for these two teams.
I can see it. All right, two more things here. How much does Alabama even try to run?
Golly.
Just to keep them honest.
Significant here. Speaking of Alabama's offense, R. Mason Thomas. You talk about the win against Tennessee. They're just calling it lower body injury. What are we going to guess? Hammy. You were running back a fumble for a touchdown. He's one of the best pass rushers in the entire country. Yeah. Officially listed as questionable. You are benefiting from the fact that he had a whole week to get this as right as possible. I don't think we're going to have an answer until warm-ups. So for all of our purposes here, for all of our purposes on locks on Thursday, you just kind of got to make a call. Does R. Mason Thomas swing you one way or the other? It could be very significant. Kobe McKenzie, also at the linebacker position, is also listed as questionable, another important piece of that Oklahoma defense.
It's super important because while Oklahoma has great blitz packages and Venables is an awesome blitzer, if they can get home with 4, I like their chances of covering Ryan Williams and last name starts with a B. Why am I blanking on this?
Bernard?
Yes, excuse me. I like their chances of covering Williams and Bernard much more, obviously, if they can put more players back there. Like, it's just math, right? So, and I think Oklahoma might have a chance to get home with 4.
Yep.
So, I mean, this is the best front that Alabama's seen so far.
And Oklahoma does like their defensive end depth. Like the young, he didn't play. R. Mason Thomas got injured early in that game. He didn't play for like 3 quarters. They still were able to close out a win against Tennessee on the road. So they got young guys that are ready to go for sure.
To your earlier question, Alabama runs the ball 32 times per game, which ranks 109th nationally. But keep in mind, they're usually winning. And most of the time, teams run the ball when they're ahead. Alabama's not trying to run the ball even when they're ahead. That tells you everything they think about their rushing offense.
There have been some games where they've been stubborn with it to various effect. Like Missouri, they were having a hard time pass blocking that day. And they really were like, all right, we don't know how much Missouri's going to score on us here. We're just going to keep pounding this thing. And they didn't pop a whole lot of explosives. They hit the 1. But, yeah, I'm curious to see how much they run it.
Alabama's offense has not scored. Alabama has not scored more than 30 offensive points in SEC play. The 37-20 win against Tennessee, as we have reminded you often, the fumble goes the other way for a touchdown. That gets you to 37, but 30 there against Tennessee. Then we saw the output has been a little bit lessened in recent weeks.
All right, deal or no deal. You are Kalen DeBoer. 21.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I mean, the total's at 46.5. If you're taking 21.
Give it to me.
I think if you gave me 23, 21, I'd be a little nervous just because the short fields that might come from turnovers. But I would take 23 if I was Bama.
Can I flip this on its head? At what number do you think Alabama's offense cannot reach? Turnovers. Oh, look, John Mateer, pick six, or a fumble, short field. Like there's ways that you could be like, well, that's part of the equation too. But just if it's a clean game, what number can Oklahoma hold Alabama to?
Oh, okay. So
20.
Yeah, I was thinking 20, low 20s.
All right, flip it. Deal or no deal. You get to pick the Bama number, and you are Brent Venables. 20.
19.
0.
Are you
0.
taking, do you think your team can score 21 there in Tuscaloosa?
No, give me 0.
Right. But if you said, hey, Brent, 17.
Yeah. You can get to 20.
I think if you told Brent, like, hey, we're going to hold Bama to the teens, he'd be like, all right, do I have great faith in my offense? No, but I would consider holding Bama to the teens in Tuscaloosa kind of a home run effort for sure from the defense, and then you hope your offense can go out there and do something.
How good is Oklahoma's kicker?
He's so good. Remember we asked about this on air, and then McQuiston hit us up. He's like, no, this kid's amazing. He's hit like 1,050,000 yarders.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to hold Alabama to 14, and then I can kick 5 field goals and win this game.
I think Oklahoma
18-17 final.
Hell yeah,
6 field goals.
I think Oklahoma
6 bombs.
I think Oklahoma can kick their way to 20.
Oh my god.
But I mean, it looks like an 18-16 ass game. I thought 26-22. It's just I don't think this is going to be crispy. I don't think our red zone opportunities are all going to be cashed in. I think the ball moves more than the scores change.
I just had a vision of Mack Rhodes on the final selection Sunday as Oklahoma at 9-3 gets the final at large, and Mack Rhodes is like, yeah, we were just talking about Tate Sandell and what a difference maker he is as a kicker, and we think it gives the Sooners the edge over a lot of these other teams we were comparing them to.
No, that would be too on the nose. Not like when he said the ACC's only good non-conference win was Miami against Notre Dame, as though Alabama doesn't have a loss to the Atlantic Coast Conference as well. I mean, I joke about week 1 being an island and we shouldn't overreact to week 1 results, but to actually memory hole and completely mentally erase week 1 results. Oh, excuse me. Some week 1 results.
Yeah, I was going to say, Miami's win was a week 1 result.
I'm not trying to be a jerk here, but how are we more prepared to comment on the TV show than the actual TV show is to do the TV show?
Listen, Mac has a lot of talking points he needs to memorize in a very short amount of time.
And it's tough if, reportedly you're undergoing a school investigation for sideline behavior. It's tough. It's tough to do time management. Luckily, he is the committee chair, and he is able to do that. All right, coming up on the other side, we will continue with our breakdown of some of the biggest games, including, Iowa's got to dry out. Luckily, California should be nice and sunny. So can the Hawkeyes hand the Trojans a potentially impactful loss? Notre Dame traveling to play the Pitt super weapon and more next. Back here on the Cover 3 podcast. All right, Iowa Hawkeyes heading out to the Coliseum. Lincoln Riley, he's out here saying we embrace the expectations. It's hard to get here. We're talking to him about it. He says they got they got coaches on the staff that have won championships, and they were trying to impart, that understanding to a group where, to Riley's own phrases, that haven't won a lot on a big stage. So USC is embracing the expectations, the opportunity that lies ahead of them. any hangover from Iowa? Because otherwise, man, they played really well. Obviously, the committee thinks so too, knocking them down only a spot. But is this going to be, Tom, is this going to be unreasonable to expect Iowa to maintain what has been a good, solid level of play that we've seen from them over the last couple of weeks, given the travel, given sort of the hangover, body blow, chest cold type spot that they might be having? By the way, Dan Lanning this week, he's playing on a Friday night. Give me the Mucinex over on that guy. Because if he was in a cotton sweatshirt in the driving rain and 33 degrees for 5 hours, that man ain't healthy.
I've made a point to try to listen to Dan Lanning press conferences this week, but I forgot. I feel like this is definitely a test of Iowa because, obviously last week's game was huge, but just going back, there was the Penn State game, which we saw last week against Indiana. Penn State still it's not a pushover.
Yeah.
So that's a really tough game. The week after that, you blow out Minnesota, but it's also a huge rivalry game. So there's the ton of emotion that goes into that. And then last week, there's a ton of emotion that goes into Oregon coming to Kinnick and what is the biggest game at Kinnick Stadium in 5 years and everything that it means, the spotlight, your chance, what it means if you win the game, blah, 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 and then coming that close and losing. And so now you've got to, fly all the way across the country to face USC after those 3 straight home games. So, yeah, there is a chance. You talk about a letdown. You talk about the body blows. If it happened, it certainly wouldn't be the first time it's happened to a football team. And it's also, you understand it. And also then you toss in the travel. And we've discussed how the impact of the travel for all these teams in these cross-coastal conferences are impacting them. But I think as far as football is concerned, it's pretty simplistic to me, this matchup. Can Iowa cover those guys?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
If they can, then we got ourselves a game. If they can't, I don't see how Iowa keeps up because that was one of the bigger questions going last week into Oregon. But then DeCorian Moore's not playing, Kenyon Sadiq's not playing, Gary Bryant gets hurt. So the question of can Iowa cover those guys, they didn't have to. So, but this week they're going to have to. They're going to have to cover Lane. They're going to have to cover Lemon unless there's some secret injuries we haven't found out about yet that'll hit us on Saturday. So to me, that is huge. And also, can you force turnovers? Again, it's an Iowa game. But to the mystique of the Iowa defense, they have not been the great turnover machine this year that we're typically used to seeing when Iowa is playing as well as it is this year. They only rank 56 nationally in turnover rate on defense, but what they're still really good at is turning those turnovers into points and then special teams scoring points. But if you look at USC, their turnover rate on offense of 12.4% ranks 101st. This is a team that will give you the football if you get pressure on Jaden Mayava. Now, the turnover problem has been worse on the road than at home, but that's typically with everything for USC, which is something they have to factor in here. But I feel like Iowa's chance to win this game is going to come in the most Iowa way possible. Force turnovers, score on special teams, because USC special teams aren't exactly fantastic, and Iowa's are pretty damn good.
I mean, Danny, do we have Danny?
Yeah, Danny Kanell.
Think so. You guys got me okay?
Yeah, youtube.com/cover3. You already see you've been described as the stepdad in Santa Claus 1. I guess that would be Judge Reinhold. Also, we got a Backstreet Boy call out. You do look like a celebrity. You look great. You look like somebody that just spoke at a very important event. So, Danny, why don't we love up the Phoenix? Why don't we love up the fam a little bit real quick?
Why not? I mean, I'm sure everybody's kind of already tired because everybody already knows my daughter's going to Elon to play volleyball. But today, officially signing day. So it's officially official for her. And they had a nice little ceremony at the school. It started at 10, supposed to start at 10:30. Didn't actually start till 10:45. And then I was going to be asked to speak. So thankfully I did dress up for the occasion. Little Backstreet Boy look, the hot hair, a lot of product. Ready to go. But look what I got with me. I do have my notes with me from my day trade nanny whenever we need it.
Okay. Well, let's go. Why don't we rip through day trade and Danny and then be able to get a chance to get you back where you need. All right, Mikey, let's roll it. Let's check in with the market.
All right. Market is open. We ready to roll?
Yep.
Mhm.
So, first purchase. Does anybody know who has the least amount of interceptions as a quarterback in all of college football?
Sorsby.
Julian Sayin.
Close.
Mm.
One, Joe Fignano.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
25
Oh.
touchdowns. 25 touchdowns, 0 interceptions on the season, leading UConn to a phenomenal start to the season. They're 7-3. They had the big win against Duke. If you missed it, he's been a big part of it. UConn, I am buying them to go 9-3 because not only are they getting great play from Fignano, their quarterback, their defense. Anybody know who leads the country in sacks, total sacks? UConn, 35 sacks on the season. That is one more than Texas A&M, Texas, Oklahoma. They're all in that vicinity. But Jim Mora Jr. has done a phenomenal job. They play Air Force this weekend, one of the worst pass defenses in the country. I think Fignano should be able to continue his streak and keep leading this team to what I think is going to be a 9-3 season. Jim Mora Jr. in this coaching cycle, I will be surprised if he doesn't get a serious look from somebody with all these jobs that are open on the open market as we see. He's done a phenomenal job there in stores.
Should the ACC add UConn to improve the overall strength of the league?
Oh my
Yes.
And they would sign up in a heartbeat. Probably
This
would make a
league.
ton of sense.
They had the opportunity. I mean, think about if it had been like way long ago, other rounds when ACC used to be on offense instead of defense and conference realignment, and UConn was right there. I mean, you could have had national championships added, ACC legend
Yeah.
Rip Hamilton. That could have been you.
That's right. And the Fiesta Bowl appearance, I think, just devastated them forever when they showed up at the Fiesta Bowl and got absolutely run out of that one. That was did not do any good help for the program, but I do think they'd be it seems like a really good fit, but we'll see. The ACC, Bud, did you want to chime in on, I would sell the ACC if you had the opportunity?
I would just say that like the ACC adding another basketball school that doesn't pull any numbers in football would be like so on brand. So yeah.
Yes, it would. All right, I've got to sell. Now, this one sort of is a sell high while you still can. This is a Heisman thing, too. This doesn't have anything to do with the national championship or the SEC championship, but I did notice that Marcel Reed was third in the Heisman race behind Julian Sayin, Fernando Mendoza, and ahead of Ty Simpson. I think it's a time to sell him. So I actually came into this exercise, was doing my research, was crunching the numbers, and I looked at him. I was going to buy him for a potential Heisman winner because last week I bought the Big Ten winner. The winner of the Big Ten championship game is going to be the one who wins the Heisman. I was like, man, maybe Marcel Reed can do it. I just don't think statistically he can get where he needs to get to. Now, they do have cakewalk opponents in South Carolina, Samford, and Texas. He will have opportunities for the big splashy moments, but with just 19 touchdowns passing, 6 interceptions, another 6 rushing, I think you have to get to 40 plus and even as close as you could to 50 of total touchdowns in order to actually win the Heisman. I think he clearly could get to New York City, but I would sell Marcel Reed as a Heisman Trophy winner.
Okay.
Anybody push back?
Would you rather? Go ahead, Tom. Sorry.
I know somebody would push back. Your pregame co-host, Damian Harris. Didn't he compare Marcel to like a hybrid of Jalen Hurts and Lamar Jackson last week?
He did. And then did you hear what I told him later? It was a little bit later in the show. I said he kind of reminds me of Colin Klein. And I don't even know if Damian knew who Colin Klein was as a player. So I don't know if it resonated with him. But like statistically, Colin Klein was a 1,000-yard rusher who wasn't the best passer, but he won football games. I mean, they're running all the system that Colin Klein ran at Kansas State. So yeah, I did hear that. That was pretty high praise for from Damian Harris.
If I forced you to buy one and sell one, Marcel plus 800 for the Heisman, Texas A&M plus 160 for the SEC.
Texas A&M plus 160.
Same.
I think I would rather have Marcel.
But if Texas A&M doesn't win the SEC, is he going to win the Heisman?
Well, yes, but I think it's a little more related than than the disparity suggests.
I don't know, because I feel like one of Mendoza or Sayin will win the Big Ten, which would clinch it for them. So unless Texas A&M won the SEC, I don't see Marcel winning. I'd rather have Gunnar Stockton to win the Heisman than Marcel Reed.
Ooh,
Whoa.
that is pretty good value. He's kind of lurking in the weeds. What, he's like 5th or 6th right now? Look at Fornelli advisors coming through.
Where did I get him? Hold on. I've got Gunnar. I've got Stockton Gunnar. Let me check where it is.
All right, I got another one. While you look that up, now this
30 to 1.
This is a 30 to 1. That's pretty good value on Gunnar Stockton, who has big opportunity this weekend against Texas, which does lead me to that game. I feel like I've traded the Arch Manning market pretty successfully throughout the season. Coming into the season, I was not a buyer, was very tentative on Arch, said I don't think they can win the national championship. I think they might miss the playoffs. But if you guys remember, right around the game where they had, what was his worst game? Was like right around when everybody was down on, when they lost to Florida. When they lost to Florida.
Oh, Florida, right.
When they lost to Florida, I was like, dabble in some Arch Manning, buy that up. It's still been a little bit bumpy, but he's coming off several of his best games, 2 of his best games of the season. I think now I would sell the Arch Manning stock in the short term. Again, this is just, I don't want to be holding Arch Manning before he has to go to Athens. And I know their defense is not great at getting after the passer, only 11 sacks on the season, but I would have to imagine Kirby Smart is going to have a game plan to confuse, to throw him off his game, to take away some of the things that Sark does well. So I'm selling Arch Manning before the game in Athens this weekend.
I'm not going to be on the other side buying it up from you, Danny. I'm just going to let that one pass through. We'll let the price continue to drop on that one. Maybe there's a chance to buy back in later, but yeah, I think you've got that one read right.
All right, I got one more for you. I got another. I have 2 more. I'm buying. This is a long-term play. I'm selling DJ Lagway as the future for the Florida Gators. I think he needs to just strip down, strip away, look at all options on the table. He has developed some bad habits. It's been really ugly. He played awful last week, did get benched. Tramel Jones, I think, is the quarterback. We always hear best chance to win. I think he's the quarterback that gives them the best chance to win any games the rest of this season. I just think DJ Lagway feels like damaged goods. And I do wonder if he goes out and tries to find another suitor this offseason. I think it might be best for everybody that he kind of strips it away, kind of breaks it down, and starts fresh with everything, mechanics, health, all of it at somewhere else besides Gainesville.
Champaign is a wonderful town, DJ, with a great offensive coordinator and has really developed quarterbacks. Just give it a
Would
thought.
you want him?
Won't have to change.
Yes.
Hell yes.
Hell
DJ
yeah.
Lagway at Illinois, my God, give it to me.
I think he should
But
have
how
shut
much
it down
we
this year. He was never healthy. He had no off season. The receivers were banging him down. I think he should have just shut it down and actually got healthy. He still doesn't look right.
I just wonder if he's the quintessential potential guy that has looked great, and then we want to resuscitate that DJ Lagway. And I don't know if it's. I know he's looked banged up. He's been there, but he's still making bad decisions with the football.
He's like easily a 7-figure guy in the portal.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, but like you're not paying 4 or 5 like top dollar.
No, but I mean, I bet you his number starts with the 2.
You know, DJ needs to think long term. He needs to think development. He needs to think NFL potential. No better place to do that than in Champaign, DJ.
Like TCU's going to need a guy. Baylor's going to need a guy. Texas Tech might need a guy. Illinois is going to need a guy. We will see with this decision coming up in December if they get an injunction that allows the 5 years of eligibility. So we'll see on that. Like that, it's going to throw the quarterback recruiting market for a loop. But
big time.
Yeah, I think Lagway.
There's a lot of interested parties. A lot of interested parties in that.
You put on that Ole Miss and LSU tape. Like coaches believe in themselves. They believe in their ability to get stuff out of guys. You put that LSU and Ole Miss tape on from last year, like, oh wow, okay, like there's not a lot of guys who have that ability. I can get that back out of them. Let's get him here. Let's get him healthy in our system. Let's get him away from not that Gainesville's a toxic environment for everybody, but I think like that just might, Danny, it's totally to your point. We talked about this on the Tuesday recruiting hour as well, man. Like get a change of scenery, start fresh, get healthy, and go ball.
Yep. Very different.
Last purchase real quick. You know, a lot of this conversation has been made about Duke, being the ACC champion. I'm buying Darian Mensah as the quarterback to potentially blow this whole thing up. He actually could do it. They are a 5.5 point favorite this weekend. They've got North Carolina and Wake. I've really wanted to say, nah, there's no chance it's happening. I actually think it might, which would just be the most ACC thing ever. And I will have to pound the table and say Duke doesn't deserve a spot, which I am totally okay with because I'm not a conference shill. But I think there's actually a chance this could happen. And I think it would be awful. Darian Mensah could pull it off.
He's really
They
good.
did dominate Georgia Tech. And I know they came out on the wrong side of it, but they moved the ball at will against Georgia Tech's defense.
I mean, he's been worth every penny.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, like that's a team that's gotten unlucky 4 times. Just have to hope they don't get unlucky a 5th.
Yeah, they definitely got unlucky when they were losing at UConn.
Mm-hmm.
So if Duke loses to Virginia, Wake Forest, or North Carolina, and Georgia Tech loses to Boston College or Pitt, and Virginia loses to Duke or Virginia Tech, and SMU loses to Louisville and Cal, and Louisville loses to Clemson or SMU, if all of those things happen and Miami wins out, Miami can still get to the ACC championship game and capitalize on their current standing as being the highest ranked ACC champion. I believe it's somewhere between a 5 or 6% path to be able to get there. But
I mean, you're getting like 11 or 12 to 1 on in the market. So
lock it up.
All right. Darian Mensah is the ACC killer. If the call came from the inside, you heard it. Buy the stock from DK, Danny Kanell. Danny, thank you so much. We appreciate you checking in. Congratulations to Cameron. Awesome day. Go Phoenix volleyball. And it's funny, Corey, the Pitt fan who's in the tailgate a lot, they're a very frequent fan. He said, oh, I know where Danny is. At the very beginning of the show, he said, I know where Danny is. It's women's volleyball signing day. Us Pitt fans are very aware of the calendar on that one. So, you're getting some love right from the jump for that. So best to the fam. Awesome. And DK, I'll see you a little bit later on Spotlight.
One down, 2 more to go, Danny.
Appreciate it.
Scholarships. Coming up on the other side, more of our look ahead to the Week 12 slate and more next.
When you need your sports news all the time,
we've got breaking news to bring to you.
CBS Sports HQ gives you a snapshot of all the sports that matter to you. When you need your sports in a snap, find it on CBS Sports HQ, streaming free anywhere you are.
Okay. Now, I might have corked any opportunity to make USC Iowa one long VOD.
Mikey's like, oh
Mikey
my God.
can edit.
If Mikey has the tea time, he's joining on hole 4.
Okay. 3, 2, 1. So, Bud, where does Iowa how does Iowa win?
It's very similar to, I think, what we talked about with Texas and especially Oklahoma. They really have one path to win. They have to make this game super ugly, super Iowa, which I think is much more difficult to do in the Coliseum. Michigan tried to do it and really couldn't do it out there. So look, this is probably the best, the biggest challenge that the Iowa passing defense has seen so far this year. Iowa's pass defense has been awesome so far. Now
they didn't have any wide receivers that they played against last week.
Correct. And Indiana obviously had some, has some dudes with Surratt and Cooper, but that was in Iowa City and this is in the Coliseum. I think if you're USC, I'm just going to throw everything I can at this run game. And if Iowa passes to beat me, all right, fine. My secondary has been fine this year. It's much better than it was last year for the Trojans. I don't think you respect the Iowa receivers very much. If you're a USC fan and you lose this game and it's because Iowa threw it all over you, you're like, all right, man, stuff happens sometimes. We executed our plan, which is first, second, last, take away the run, commit numbers to the run blitz. Do not allow Iowa to beat us with that offensive line and with that run game. Like Ryan in chat saying, heavy packages against Northwestern, Michigan. Yeah. Obviously Northwestern was running the ball on them some. If you watch, I know that finished in a blowout, but when USC went to that fake punt, Northwestern had moved it several drives in a row. So I don't know if USC can hold up in base against Iowa's attack, but I think if they really just go all in against the run, maybe give up an explosive or 2, but I I don't know how much Iowa can really pass. And I think every time you get them in long down and distance, they're kind of dead for the most part, like playing the odds. They may hurt a couple, but it's unlikely that they're going to run so hot in those long down and distance situations. So I would just really, really try to take away the run, like, and just go all out against it.
Iowa's bringing rain with them as a carry-on.
Oh.
Weather forecast,
sunny Southern California.
Weather forecast for Los Angeles, California for Saturday. We've got 70% chance of precipitation, 64 degrees, not wind, a little 7 mile an hour. Looks like at kickoff time. Yeah, just some 7 mile an hour. But yeah, that is low 60s and rainy in sunny Southern California. I mean, obviously advantage Iowa, right? Everyone reads this the same way. This is
Albert Hammond, you lying son of a bitch.
On the other hand, did Oregon expose something on this Iowa defense running the football?
I think we've been talking all season long that Iowa, you cannot copy and paste the Iowa defensive line from 4 years ago.
Correct.
To your expectations for this Iowa defensive line. But that does, if you can get over that part, it's still a group that's played well. Like, it is still a pretty good group. And I think that to me might have been more of a compliment to Oregon and that offensive line manning up and figuring out how to go win that football game.
You know what side of the line of scrimmage has improved for Iowa this year?
The offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
And who also coached them while he was running the offense?
Brian Ferentz.
Huh. Funny how both things have improved.
Jeez.
Never mind. But we got time. More to get to. All right. Let's keep it in the Big Ten. Penn State will be playing Michigan State. This is your big time game on CBS. One big swing from Sparty. I got the Penn. Here's what I'm saying. I understand the Penn State side. We have gone through the Franklin experience. We have seen the way that they have played against Ohio State and Indiana. And maybe there is a little bit of the, and Iowa as well. Like, are they going to let go of the rope? How much gas do the Nittany Lions have left in the tank? These are all important questions. But man, the erratic, disappointing, and substandard performance from the Michigan State Spartans this year just has, I don't have my hands around this team from an expectation standpoint.
Oftentimes with the interim, you get one home run effort, not two. Like, look, Florida against Georgia, Florida played their ass off. Florida's defense just did not play hard against Kentucky. Like, there's so many loafs and arm tackle. Like, they didn't take on blocks. They did not play with physicality and intensity. This is kind of a thing with interims, I think. It's a little bit different if you win the first one and it's a coach that has a legitimate shot to take the job. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you see a team continue to play for that guy, but obviously Penn State's not making an internal hire here. So I do really think are they going to get up again for this?
Yeah, I mean, how up is Michigan State going to be?
I was kind of like, I don't know. Penn State still looks like they're playing hard. They've got better players. And I think that they could go out. I mean, the players who are making plays for Penn State are still the good players.
Right.
Yeah, I assume Milivojevic is going to be starting again. He started, against Minnesota. They lost 23-20. That was actually, on the road, first start. He played pretty damn well, I thought. I didn't really watch the whole game, but the parts I did watch, I was like, oh, okay, this kid's not playing too bad. But I think this defense is a lot better. But it'll be really interesting to see. I think the first quarter of this game will be huge. If you're winning after the first quarter, I bet you win this game.
Great live wagering opportunity, and just a
when
great
you sense the vibes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Just jump in, let's do a little vibe check, and then let's keep it on a TV, preferably streaming on Paramount Plus. It can be one of the TVs that's in your house. But yeah, let's do a little vibe check, maybe a little second half, maybe a little fourth quarter. Just, Any of those things are good options. We can keep it going. Okay.
Sorry, I dropped something in the private chat here.
Memphis.
That's not okay. Never mind.
Yeah.
Let's move on.
Memphis is on the road at ECU. Memphis's chances to make the college football playoff and even win the American really got hurt with that last loss. A reminder, they already have another conference loss, that loss being to UAB. So now the heroic comeback win against South Florida, they've given up a little bit because South Florida, though a 2-loss team, only has one conference loss. ECU is a good football team. Game's in Greenville. I think this is an interesting game. Is it hitting y'all's radar at all?
Legitimately, I forgot to prep this.
That's fine.
It's hitting.
So.
We're 61 minutes in, so we're in rapid fire notes and storylines kind of mode right now. We don't need to do 8-minute breakdown.
But we forgot one.
Yeah. Well,
shoot.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I did prep for it.
Yeah,
which I did prep for.
Okay.
Chip just threw that bitch out the window.
Famous last words. Don't worry about Notre Dame-Pitt, boys. The outcome's already determined. All right. So what do you make? Sorry, Mikey. What do you make of Pat Narduzzi saying this game doesn't matter?
I think Pat's being Pat.
I loved it.
He's factually correct.
I know. That's the best is when you can package in something that gets everybody hot and bothered, but there are no holes that can be poked in it. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. Because there is no chance in hell that is the message that is actually being delivered to those players.
I think Narduzzi's a good football coach, man.
Me
and
too.
Just from you could tell some of these guys have a genuine care for the well-being of their guys.
Oh,
and I think and I think his guys do play hard for him. I think they'll play hair on fire. Much like the Iowa analysis, though, you cannot just you'll see this is one reason I like the show. We look at each team differently each year. The Pitt D-line is not what they had in prior years. Okay, it's not. The linebackers, when healthy, are still really good. We give the same analysis for Pitt oftentimes as far as what they do defensively. They're going to send 6. Pitt is not a blitz 5 team. They're very much we are going to send it a lot. We don't think most college quarterbacks can handle this. This is not state secrets. Narduzzi literally says this at his Nike conference. If you guys go watch some of these Coach of the Year clinics, I saw him say it down here. Was it Orlando or Atlanta? Whichever last one I went to. Kind of the ballrooms, they kind of run together. Anyway, they're going to send 6. A lot of college quarterbacks can't handle that. You attack Pitt typically by picking it up and hitting them deep. That is something Notre Dame does really well. They do throw it over the top. Last week, Navy played Navy's we're just going to play what we do. They just play their a lot of zero coverage, a lot of blitz, and Notre Dame's okay, even though it's snowing, we're just going to throw it over your head because you can't run with us. And they were correct. And obviously it's Navy. Pitt's got better athletes than Navy, but I think Carr may be a guy who can really, handle this. How fixed, to me, I think they'll be able to score some on Pitt unless he just gets really rattled, which is probably what Pitt's plan is. They play a high variance game. It wouldn't shock me if Pitt score if Pitt is 40. It wouldn't shock me if they actually do rattle him some and they hold him to 20.
Yeah. Yeah. The only thing I really have to add is do you guys really think whether they show up to try hard or not, do you really give Pitt much of a chance here?
Yeah.
I do because of the variance to which Pitt plays.
All right.
The style of defense, I think, lends itself to upsets. They don't do this die a slow death thing.
They're on the win streak right now, but the wins have been Boston College, Florida State, Syracuse, NC State, and Stanford. Those guys are a combined 6-25 in ACC play.
And all of them are somewhere between awful to below average defenses.
Yeah. NC State might be a bowl team. Central Michigan might be a bowl team. That's one of their wins. It's just, I am not fully bought in on Pitt being nearly as good as its ranking or its record suggests. I have a feeling that Notre Dame could win this one by a lot.
Yeah, I think it's certainly possible. To Raymond's comment in the chat, Pitt's linebackers cannot run with Love and Price. I strongly disagree with that. I think they might just have their defensive line pushed back into their face. So that kind of messes with your angles a little bit. But I think athletically, Pitt is really good at linebacker. I don't think your D-line is special this year. I mean, Heinzel.
I was going to say, I think Pitt can, if Heinzel gets overwhelmed, if Heinzel makes some mistakes, if Notre Dame's defense puts them in a lot of obvious, third and long situations, then yeah, things could get a little bit difficult. But the way that they play with tempo, the way that they have some skill players who can get you some yak and turn easy throws into long plays. If Notre Dame's defense has improved throughout the season, I definitely agree with that. I do wonder if you're still going to have an opportunity to have some success if Mason Heinzel doesn't provide one of the tougher tests from a passing game standpoint that they have faced.
I think there's a stubbornness factor here. And I'm not saying it's wrong to be stubborn and commit to the run if you're Notre Dame with that run game on the road. But if you want to blow this thing open, your play action on early downs, when Pitt's really committed to the run and you hit some balls over the top early, you get Pitt scripted out of what they want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Like that. I do think if this game is close, and my IFB keeps falling out, so I'm just going to hold it here. If this game is close, I don't know why I'm yelling. It doesn't impact the mic. If this game is close, right? Yeah. It is because Pitt is committing enough numbers against the run. They're getting home with their run blitzes early. They're getting Notre Dame into negative down to situations like bad leverage spots because they're just kind of guessing right against the run. And they're gambled, much like we talked about USC against Iowa, commit against the run. That's working. And you're getting in those situational spots. If I'm Notre Dame, I'm really trying to mix it up a lot. I'm trying to throw early, a lot of first down throws, hit the play action, live with some 3 and outs, but I want to trade some 3 and outs for some explosives and then hit them with the run game.
Could be a CJ Carr breakout game too. We have been talking on the Cover 3 podcast about CJ Carr and how well he has been playing. I do not think that has risen to the big stage, but this is going to be noon ABC. Everyone's tuning in to see. It's called Ranked on Ranked because of where Pitt is in the college football playoff rankings. So there'll be plenty of attention on this one. This is also for the Fighting Irish playing at Pitt. I don't think I'm saying anything controversial. Toughest game that they've got left before Selection Sunday. They close Syracuse home at Stanford.
Yeah.
Disrespectful to Stanford.
Listen, sorry, those nerds won your little success rate battle. They still couldn't get a win in Chapel Hill.
Last thing here. If I'm Notre Dame's defense, I'm pretty conservative here. I'm not coming after him. I think Heinzel will get impatient.
And just make him make a mistake.
Mm-hmm.
Then you create there are paths, but it is Tom, did you mention Moneyline Altline for this one?
Yeah. Well, as soon as I saw the quotes from Narduzzi, I figured it's either Notre Dame minus 20 or Pitt Moneyline. Can't lose. Can't lose.
Cannot lose. It will certainly not fall in the 20-point middle lose window.
Yeah.
The middle does not exist.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's keep things rolling with more showdowns. Thank you so much, boys, for shouting that out. I was a little bit thrown off by Danny's.
by Memphis ECU.
Memphis ECU. What? Yeah, a lot.
Chip's
more.
Qualified to pick games for networks.
Let's see. TCU at BYU. Y'all been has anybody reached out to you to tell you to look in Fort Worth?
As far as a coaching change?
Yeah.
No, I try to I don't read all the message boards each week, but I try to peruse some after some outcomes, and that was pretty frustrating.
They're laying a lot of that at the feet of Sonny, and they're putting it as another piece of evidence in a mounting case that he's been cruising off his one Sun run.
No, go ahead.
The thing is, you need to make decisions based on how they're playing, and they they outplayed Iowa State down to down, but by a significant margin. They just allowed 10 points on special teams and had 4 turnovers, and it that happens. Now, if your gripe is that it happens too often under Sonny, I get that. They look unprepared sometimes, but it wasn't like they came out and laid a total egg in terms of like down to down. They didn't no-show the game. They just some sloppiness bit them.
23-17 against West Virginia. That doesn't make you feel great. Got pantsed by a Kansas State team that we all kind of thought was dead at the time. You win a shootout against Baylor. I don't know. I don't know if there's been a lot in recent weeks that you're super enthused about, especially given the caliber of the quarterback and the belief in what this team could have been. That said, to your point about like their power rating, how good are they on a down-to-down basis? They're only 4.5-point dogs in Provo against BYU. So
they're clearly still top third in that league in terms of like team
flip
quality.
You can flip the vibes really fast, but from a vibes perspective, I don't know if there's been a result that TCU fans have really like felt pumped up about in a little bit.
Who is more likely to get off the mat? BYU after getting just punked in Texas Tech, or TCU after laying that egg?
BYU.
Because they're going home and you can't afford to no-show it at home?
Or just BYU in Provo, and this is just like right from a vibes book. But what are one of like the first 3 things anyone says about Kalani Sitake? He's just the most positive guy, and he just like sets that optimism, energy, sets it off throughout the whole program. They're all old, they're all experienced, playing back at home. I trust BYU to get up off the mat more than TCU on the road. What?
Same.
What are the other 2 things
that people talk about Kalani Sitake?
Yeah, if one of the 3 is he's positive, what are the other 2?
They normally something about the way the team is built, physical at the line of scrimmage. And then I was just going to give myself some wiggle room. I don't.
Okay.
You kind of like you set like a larger cast a wide net just to make sure that
you piqued my curiosity, so
yeah. But I didn't want to just be knuckle draggy. It was like everybody says the big guy likes the trenches. He's just a big happy guy, I just wanted to at least
big happy man.
The big happy man. So yeah, that's one. That is a very, very interesting game to me. Also in the Big 12, Utah on the road at Baylor.
It's an interesting one there.
It is an interesting one.
Utah covers pretty well. Not like the spread, I'm saying, but they do. But like their coverage unit is pretty good, and Baylor does not have much of a run game. Also, people have pounded Baylor with the run. Go back to that Auburn game. So can they do it again? I don't know. Like if I'm Baylor, I'm not sitting back. Like I'm making Utah beat me with the throw game for sure. Also, Utah on the road is not a wagon. At home, they're really good. That's one of like the bigger home road splits to me.
I just had TCU Baylor pulled up. If we see 42-36 in this one too, might not surprise me.
If Utah is scoring 42, they're holding the ball forever, I think.
Oh, so then it just wouldn't even allow for that much.
Yeah, I would think. There's another good one, by the way, in the Big 12 this week.
Arizona and
Cincy, Arizona. Cincy's third in the running to win the Big 12. Like they got to have this one. Arizona has course corrected. Like they're not where they were 2 years ago, but like they're much better than last year's team.
So
yeah, they were non-competitive against Iowa State, but their losses to BYU and Houston were close.
Yeah, they had a double-digit lead to BYU with like 5 minutes left, and obviously they blew it, so that's to their detriment. But like that game was very competitive.
We're in a great part of the season where we've got a large sample size to give us data, but then also that data requires context. That's some of the fun that we have with these conversations. The data will split out Arizona as a pretty good defensive team.
Do you know who runs the exact?
The schedule analysis might point to what are the offenses that they've gone up against to put together this data. So how do we wrestle this, especially with an eye on Cincinnati?
I've been thinking about this a lot. It's a game of adjustments. So who runs the exact same defense as Iowa State, guys? Cincinnati. Because they took Tyson Veit from Cincinnati, which has been a pretty good hire. Or sorry, they took Tyson from Iowa State. So literally, like, he runs that exact same Matt Campbell, Jim. Why am I blanking on names today? Jim Haycock defense, right? I'm not saying like it's not the same every single play, but like it's very much the same family. How does Arizona adjust to that?
Like they're cousins, identical cousins. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see.
Arizona can cover this well, but like they cover receivers pretty well this year. Like their coverage numbers are pretty good. So
I think it's important for the Big 12 that Cincinnati wins this game. Keep them viable, keep them ranked, boost the other stocks.
Well, in that case, let's lock up
big game for
money line
legs.
because this is the season where none of these other conferences are going to take the path that is the best for the conference.
We don't do props on the lock show, but I do like Sorsby's legs this week. I'll throw that out there.
Yeah, they're sexy.
Yeah.
Great legs.
I got one more game I want to talk about. If I know we got to get out of here, but
we don't have to.
I got
USF Navy. USF going to cold weather, 9.5, 10-point spread. Like, how well does USF defend the run? Navy's going to force you to beat them over the top, just like they do every single opponent, because they play extremely aggressive style of defense. If Byron Brown hits it, they blow him out. If those passes fall incomplete, I think it's a pretty good ball game.
Huge for the conference title race.
Yes. I mean, if Navy wins this, like North Texas is maybe your playoff team.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if Navy can run with the Bulls.
I get it.
I agree. They will create open guys deep. Will they be hit?
Yeah.
Like what kind of weather are we getting for this game? Like, is it nasty and rainy and cold? And like, all these kids from Florida that USF has on the team, like, how prepped are they to play in that kind of weather? Like we've seen this before. Like sometimes Miami goes and lays an egg late in season up north in the ACC game. Sometimes they just kill the opponent, right?
56 degrees, 40% chance of rain, 11-mile-per-hour winds.
Navy won in Tampa 28-7 last year, got out to a 21-0 halftime lead, and then were able to cruise after that. But with Navy being formerly, I believe, were they in the other division? I don't have a lot of goalish against Navy of a book right now.
Wait, I don't think there were divisions last year in the American, were there?
No, not last year, but I'm saying prior to that.
Oh,
is this goalish year 4, right?
Wasn't Navy always in the division that had when Temple played? Was it Temple Navy for one of those one time? Yeah. So Temple would have been in the East.
Has the American ever had divisions?
Yeah.
Navy was in the West. Okay, correct from the chat. Yeah, because Temple was in the East. Yeah, the American used to have divisions for sure.
Yep.
While Navy was in it.
Yeah.
Because
Navy's been in the American for a decade.
Like Memphis UCF was. They were, because Memphis was a West team and UCF was the East team, correct?
And they played those bangers.
Yeah.
Back-to-back seasons.
And some of the Cincinnati stuff too, back in the day.
The point being was I was reaching for how does goalish play against Navy? How does Navy, go against goalish? Didn't really have much, but obviously advantage Navy with Brian Newberry's squad getting the win last year. Byron Brown, as we will remember, was not a factor. He was banged up for a lot of last season.
In the interest of expediency, we could like literally just copy paste some of the Notre Dame-Pitt analysis. Like, can you hit the deep balls early? If you don't, they fall incomplete, and then the other team is controlling the football. This could be a real tight ball game. If you hit them early, then you get them game scripted out. I think the Navy quarterback's playing, but I don't know that. He missed last week. Horvath.
I imagine he is. I think there could have been some. We'll rest him up for this one and bring him back next week.
You get almost no injury reporting or leaks out of these service academies.
Well, they got rid of all the media from the Pentagon, so how are you going to find out?
Thanks, Pete. All right. So, any other games you want to turn your attention to?
Trying to think
couple ranked opponents from the ACC on the road. Virginia at Duke. Duke, as we mentioned, is a favorite there. I think I like Duke to win that game.
I mean, that line implies that He is playing.
That line is implying that Chandler Morris is playing.
Correct, I think.
Because
Morris is probably a 3 or 3.5 point reduction to the backup, who was kind of unplayable last week.
Yeah.
And Duke's power rated higher than UVA is, and it's a home game for Duke. So, if you say Duke's like 3 on a neutral to UVA, you give them 2 for home field. That's how you get your 5-ish here. I think the line says that he's playing.
What about Louisville and Clemson?
Ooh, if Clemson's D line shows up like they did last week, Louisville's in trouble.
Man, again, I cannot get out of my head Jeff Brom's displeasure with his own team. Remarkable. Maybe they had an amazing week of practice, or maybe they're just thinking about almost putting 100 on Big Blue Nation on Tuesday night. Might be basketball season there in Louisville.
It's basketball signing day.
It's basketball signing day today?
Yeah.
Big one. A volleyball signing day. That's what we saw in this house. We celebrate.
Yes, we do.
Volleyball signing day. All right. We will be back on Thursday, 11 a.m. Eastern time. But before then, you have an opportunity between now and then to come and get in our Week 12 Splash Contest. That's right. Week 12 is here. We've got $1,000 in Splash Cash up for grabs in a free-to-enter Pick'em contest. This is a Week 12 sprint. Get there by going to splashsports.com/cover. You pick 12 games against the spread for Week 12. And then there's a twist. One game will be worth double the points if you nail it. So head on over to splashsports.com/cover3 for our Week 12 Pick'em. And you can follow him on Twitter at Tom Fornelli. You can follow him at Bud Elliott 3. You can follow me at Chip _Patterson. Gentlemen, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Enjoy it, y'all.